What if the most famous lyrics of the last 2 decades were never meant to be taken at face value? What if the lines you sing along to in the car, the choruses you know by heart, are actually coded messages hiding emotional maps, personal contracts, and quiet confessions that were never supposed to be obvious? Taylor Swift's lyrics don't just tell stories, they leave trails. And once you start following those trails, it becomes impossible to hear her music the same way again. From the very beginning, Taylor didn't write songs like someone chasing hits. She wrote like someone documenting evidence. Names were changed, details softened, timelines blurred, but the emotional architecture was precise. Listen closely and you realize her lyrics operate on multiple levels at once. On the surface, they sound simple, almost conversational. Underneath, they're layered with symbols that repeat across albums, years apart, as if she's building a private language with her listeners. Have you ever noticed how certain words keep returning, even when the stories seem different? Take the way she uses places, streets, rooms, cities, doorways, windows. These aren't just backdrops, they're emotional coordinates. A doorway is rarely just a doorway. It's the moment before commitment or escape. A car isn't transportation, it's limbo. A bedroom isn't intimacy, it's memory. When she sings about standing somewhere, she's usually frozen in a decision she never fully made. How many of her songs happen in that exact emotional pause? Colors work the same way. Blue isn't just sadness, it's depth, devotion, drowning. Red isn't just passion, it's chaos, volatility, loss of control. Gold isn't happiness, it's stability earned after survival. Black is protection. White is exposure. Once you understand her color code, entire albums read differently. Suddenly a line that sounded romantic reveals itself as a warning. Did you ever wonder why some of her happiest sounding songs leave you with a strange ache afterward? Then there's time. Taylor Swift doesn't experience time linearly in her lyrics. Past and present collapse into each other. A memory from years ago is described as if it's happening now. That's not nostalgia. That's unresolved emotion. When she says she's moved on but keeps returning to the same emotional landmarks, she's showing you the difference between healing and avoidance. How many times have you told yourself you were over something, only to realize you were just better at distracting yourself? One of the most misunderstood aspects of her writing is how often she rewrites the same story from different emotional angles. Early songs sound hopeful, later songs sound bitter, later still they sound reflective. But they're often about the same core experience. She's not contradicting herself. She's documenting emotional evolution. The person who loved, the person who resented, and the person who finally understood are all real. Which version do you recognize most in yourself? Silence is another hidden weapon in her lyrics. What she doesn't say is often more important than what she does. She'll reference a fight but never describe it. She'll mention a betrayal but skip the details. That absence forces the listener to fill in the gaps with their own experiences. That's not accidental. It's how she turns personal pain into universal connection. Have you noticed how her most devastating lines are often the shortest ones? Taylor also uses repetition as a psychological device. When a phrase returns across songs or albums, it's rarely coincidence. It's a reminder. Sometimes it's a wound she hasn't fully closed. Sometimes it's a lesson she learned too late. When she repeats herself, she's not being redundant. She's marking something that changed her. What phrase of yours keeps coming back no matter how much time passes? Even her love songs carry warnings inside them. Compliments are paired with conditions. Promises sit next to doubt. When she sings about forever, she often frames it as fragile, temporary, something that can slip away if handled carelessly. That tension is the secret engine of her writing. Love isn't safe in her world. It's intense, beautiful, and constantly at risk. Does that feel familiar? As her career progressed, her lyrics shifted from reaction to control. Early songs ask why things ended. Later songs explain how they ended. Eventually, she stops explaining at all. She states, she observes, she decides. That evolution mirrors emotional maturity. You stop needing validation. You stop needing closure from others. You give it to yourself. Can you hear the moment in her discography where she stops asking for permission to feel? Midway through this story, let me ask you something directly. When you listen to her songs, are you listening for the story, or are you listening for yourself inside the story? If you're enjoying this deeper breakdown and want more content that uncovers the psychology behind music and fame, make sure you subscribe and leave a comment about which Taylor Swift lyric has always stayed with you. I read them all, and they shape what comes next. Another hidden layer in her lyrics is power. Early Taylor often writes from a position of imbalance. Someone else has more control, more certainty, more leverage. Over time, that dynamic flips. She becomes the narrator who knows the ending. She withholds information. She reframes the past. That shift isn't just artistic, it's strategic. Language becomes a way of reclaiming narrative authority. Have you ever rewritten a memory just to survive it? There's also a quiet obsession with legacy. Even in her most intimate songs, she's aware of being remembered. She writes not just for the person she's singing about, but for the version of herself who will look back later. That's why her lyrics feel archival, like diary entries designed to be opened years later. What do you wish your past self had written down more honestly? Perhaps the biggest secret of all is this: Taylor Swift's lyrics aren't about men, fame, or heartbreak. They're about identity under pressure, about how it feels to grow up while being watched, about protecting your inner world when millions feel entitled to it. Once you see that, the Easter eggs, the callbacks, the emotional codes all make sense. She isn't hiding meaning to be clever, she's protecting it. So the next time you hear one of her songs, listen past the melody. Ask yourself why that word was chosen, why that image returned, why that emotion never fully resolves. And ask yourself one final question: which part of the story is she telling, and which part is she trusting you to feel on your own? If this changed the way you hear her music, let me know in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives like this, where we look beyond the surface and uncover what's really being said.